When you want to switch faction from one war to another, but you are the commander of a regiment, the game will throw an error. You are the commander of a colonial regiment, FFS, Frere Frontline Services, unable to join wardens until you leave your regiment. To solve this, hit close on the message, choose the side your regiment is on, in this case colonials, and hit deploy. If there is a queue to get into home island, sit out the queue. When you finally are through the queue and spawn on home island, you can see in the top left a message that says, "You will be faction locked to colonials in 6 minutes and 0 seconds. Log out before this time to switch factions." So 6 minutes is the time frame we have to do the following. Press F1 to bring up the player menu. In the regiment panel on the right, either make somebody else the commander of the regiment and leave the regiment by using the Leave Regiment button, or if you are the only one left in the regiment or want to end the regiment anyway, click the Disband Regiment button, the button that looks like a garbage can in the Actions panel. This will bring up a window warning you that doing this will discharge, kick, all members and disband the regiment, and that this is permanent. To confirm this, we type disband in all caps in the text area and click the disband button. We see that the regiment is now gone from our regiment panel. We then hit the escape key and choose log out in the escape menu. We click to continue again, press play, and now choose the faction we want to go to. Click commit to wardens, hit deploy, wait out the queue, and voila, we are wardens now. When multiple shards are live, it is possible to play different factions on the different shards. If, for instance, you are already playing as a warden on the Charlie shard, but want to try out the colonials on Able, you can do that. Simply change your shard in the top right of the main menu, and if you haven't been part of that war yet, or been in it but for less than 6 minutes, you get the faction selection screen for the selected shard. Simply select the faction you want to play here, and click Commit. If you want to get a good view of how the war is going before you deploy, you can go to the State of the War tent on Home Island. Here, you can see a snapshot of the current state of the war, including the positions of enemy and friendly infantry and vehicles, provided that they are under watchtower coverage. To update this map, you can simply come to the barracks that are on the opposite side of the street and press E. When we do that, we see in the top left of our screen that our map intelligence has been updated. This will not work when you are not faction locked yet. So, if your playtime in a war is less than 6 minutes and you try to update your map this way, nothing will happen. After you are faction locked and you press E, it will update the map. To change the way your character looks, you spawn in Home Island and come to the barracks that are opposite the State of the War tents. When you are close and see in the bottom left, press E to use encampment, you press E and that will bring up a small window where you can change the body of your character between male and female, and change the skin tone of your character as well. Hitting apply will apply these changes to your character until you decide to change them again. When you come to a border that has a queue for the next region, and we try to travel over by pressing E, we get a message saying, "There is currently a queue on the destination server. You'll be notified when a spot is available." If we click close on this message, we see in the top left that we are in queue to join the region, and 2 players are ahead of us. At this point, we do not have to wait at the border, but can drive back to the safe spot and wait until we get a new message in the top left. A spot has been reserved for you in the destination region. You may now travel there. Seeing this, we drive back to the border, and when we are close and see in the bottom left, press E to travel to adjacent region, we simply press E and see that we now are traveling to the next region. To let other people know where we are on the map, we can use the map coordinate system. If we press M to open the map and look along the left border and top border of the map, we can see that those are divided in a grid structure with numbers and letters denoting the different columns and rows. Using these, we can figure out that we are currently in column L and row 8. Hovering over the square there, we see that this is divided into 9 even smaller squares, labeled 1 to 9. Since we are in the bottom left square, we now know we are at the coordinates L8, indicating the large grid squares, K1, indicating the small squares. We can also get these coordinates by pressing enter to open chat and typing !cohorts and hitting enter. This will show a text line in the chat window with these coordinates, L8, K1. Yet another way of doing this is opening our map again by pressing M, holding the left control key and left-clicking on our location. This will paste our hex, King's Cage, and coordinates, L8, K1, into the text box. Using this last method, we can also quickly get coordinates of other locations on the map by simply holding the left control and left-clicking on the location we want the coordinates of. If somebody asks you to deploy to a specific named place, but you do not know where that is, you can use the search function on the map and deployment map to find your way. If we are, for instance, looking for East Knife, we can simply left-click in the search bar in the top right of the deployment map and start typing the name. While typing, the list of locations gets shortened based on our input. And if we see our destination in the list, we can simply left-click on it. This will center the map on this particular spot. And now to deploy there, we can simply left-click on the deployment point icon. If we are looking for a specific building on the map, for instance the refinery closest to us, we quickly find that all these map symbols are making the map hard to read. To make it more readable, we can toggle off individual map icons by left-clicking on them in the legend on the left of the map. We can also toggle entire categories by clicking the check marks next to the category headers. Using both these methods to isolate just the refinery icon is a lot of work though. A quicker way to achieve this is by holding the left shift key and clicking the refinery symbol twice. Once to turn it off and once to toggle every other map icon off and the refinery back on. If we want to know which refineries also have a storage depot, garage and factories nearby, we can simply left-click those icons to toggle those on. To turn all map symbols back on, we can simply hold down the left shift key again and left-click the refinery symbol. This will toggle all other icons on and the refinery icon off. We then simply let go of the shift key and left-click the refinery symbol again to turn that back on.